Hello, welcome to The Collision. I'm Daniel Blackaby, and I'm here today with resident Downton Abbey expert, Carrie Blackaby, to talk about the new film based on the hit TV show. So let's talk about it. So Carrie and I got the chance to see this movie together, and we came at it from very different ends of the spectrum. I came at it having never seen a single episode or minute of an episode.
One of the three people on Earth who's never seen a single episode.
I'm one of the few that has not been converted to the Downton Abbey religion. Carrie, on the other hand...
I'm about as big of a Downton Abbey fan as you can get. I am currently finishing my second rewatch of every single episode. I've got a baby, okay, so gotta pass the time.
Yeah,
and I actually recently got back from a trip to England where we made a pilgrimage to Downton Abbey itself. In real life, it's called Highclere Castle or something, but everybody knows that it's actually Downton Abbey.
So as you can guess, on the way to the theater, I was pestering, trying to ask who's related to who, what spoons are they supposed to be using at what time, but so...
Pivotal plot point there.
Yeah, all the drama. So why don't you just give a few seconds of what's the show about? What made this such a hit show for so many years?
Okay, well, basically it's your quintessential period drama set in England, 1910s to the 1920s. And essentially it follows Lord Grantham, an earl, and his family. And it also follows their servants and the staff that live downstairs. And, I mean, essentially it's a soap opera, okay? We'll just put it out there. But it's very entertaining, and it's a soap opera that is very proper, with lots of tea drinking, heartbreak, fancy dresses.
As a rookie to the Downton Abbey... I can see the appeal of, not a whole lot happens, I think, in the show. Not a whole lot significant happens in the movie. The appeal, at least to me, is the just kind of living a chance to kind of jump in and just experience life with this cast of quirky characters, doing crazy things, stressing out about minor British things. But what about the movie? So the movie picks up after the sixth season.
Yeah, it picks up about a year after the last season ended. And essentially, and this isn't a spoiler, if you watch the trailer, it's in there, but it essentially follows the news that the king and queen are coming for a visit to Downton Abbey, and as you'd expect, that throws the entire house into a tizzy. They're trying to get everything up to snuff, and then basically the next 2 hours is everything that comes out of that visit, all the preparations, heartbreak, scheming, funny quips. Basically, it's everything you'd expect of a Downton Abbey film.
Yeah, and that would be my first question for you as someone... I'll admit I enjoyed this film a lot more than I expected to.
Convert already.
I can see the appeal, but having no reference, how does the movie kind of continue as far as compared to the show? Is it the same tone? Is it different?
I think it's very similar to the show. Obviously, because it's a 2-hour film, it does not have as much time to develop the different storylines and the drama, and there's 2 hours is not even really enough time to send one of the Bates to prison falsely. And so essentially it's got a similar feel, but I would say maybe it's a little bit Downton Abbey light. It kind of plays up more of the humor, lots of good dowager one-liners, which everyone I know is hoping for. And then I would say most of it is more lighthearted. They don't delve quite as deeply into a lot of the darker themes.
Because it's definitely a feel-good movie. It's very kind of, not to give any spoilers, but happy ending. People generally get what they're going for. I know I left the movie just feeling good. Feeling poor, but feeling good. But
wishing I had a lady's maid. One of the themes that we saw played out in really a lot of the storylines was the characters are really struggling to determine what matters in life, what their priorities should be. A lot of the importance of family, I feel like, came out in several different...
Because you notice this theme even with almost all of the central characters in one way or another are wrestling with this. The kind of what they're wrestling with, what's important and what's not is different for each character. Whether it's marriage or some of the other being a father,
supporting your friends even when it goes against some of your personal.
Yeah, kind of going against some of your friends over just your duty. What's the what's the Irish?
Branson, yeah. Putting family above some of your own political convictions. That was a
Yeah,
big one
kind of,
in his.
country, family. Again, without spoiling anything of the movie, the way the film handles this is in a very, I thought, wholesome and
Yeah.
uplifting way. It really emphasizes the importance of family, the importance of kind of your neighbor doing what's right for other people, even at your own personal sacrifice. It really does kind of pound down the importance of family,
Yeah.
of being either
Which
father.
I think that was a theme throughout the whole series, so I don't think that's anything new really with the film.
Yeah, it's just, I think, a good message for our culture. Just family comes before a lot of our other loyalties. Well, one of the other main themes that I noticed, kind of the storylines that kind of weave throughout, is this tension, and you can let me know if this is one that's continuing on from the film or from the series, or if it's new. But is this kind of ever-present tension between the past and the future as far as
that was definitely one of the main themes throughout the series. Essentially, the Grantham family are part of a dying breed. That's the British aristocracy. The whole world is moving forward more towards like egalitarianism. There's not so much where you need 6 different ladies' maids to help you put on your dress in the morning.
Although that would be nice.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that would be, but basically the whole series is about how can they navigate the changing world. Is it time for their breed to, as you put it, goes with the buffalo? Will Downton survive? Basically, every single series, every single season in the series was where we were wondering if Downton Abbey was going to live to fight another day. If they were going to find the money miraculously through the series, they managed to keep it going. But
and I think it seems almost that this sort of tension, this theme that goes throughout the movie is building off the first theme as far as kind of what's important. As these characters, they're trying to establish what is about Downton Abbey and our way of life that's worth bringing into the future with us. How do we need to adapt? Is it Mary is the oldest?
yeah,
It's her
the
her
future of
character
Downton.
kind of rests upon her, and she's the one that really drives this forward. I did notice that the one stain for me in this movie, that you see the theme of the past and present in a story, in a narrative level, but you also see it in a bit of a meta level outside, as far as you have a show or you have a movie that's highlighting kind of the values of the past, but then you also see the influence of some of our present day issues that we're working through, some of the conflicts, and this is most prevalent in. You have to remind me his name. There's a quite heavy-handed kind of gay romance.
Yeah, that's Thomas, the
Thomas.
butler.
It's a bit jarring the way that the film handles it. His character, again, without giving away too much of the story, pretty early on he's separated from the rest of the cast of characters. All the drama that's going on related to the king and the queen coming is kind of happening over here, and he's off here for the majority of the film.
Yeah, and I mentioned that it was kind of like Downton Abbey light. I would say his storyline is one of the exceptions to that. I feel like the theme and the tone of his subplot, and there are many, many subplots, that was not as lighthearted of a subplot as they showed what he was going through.
As a homosexual man in this time period, you get the movie gives kind of a glimpse of what that would have been like, and I think there's stories to tell about that, but the way the film handles it just seems very, very heavy-handed. Every time the story kind of goes off to his storyline, I found myself just wanting to go back to where the rest of the action is, the rest of the characters. There's several moments where Thomas and he's talking with kind of his romantic interest, and they're talking to each other, but you kind of get the sense that they're really talking to the audience. And I don't know if you caught, there's one quote near the end of his storyline when they're these two males are talking, and will we ever be treated right? Will we ever fit in? And the other character makes a comment about, 50 years ago, air travel was unthinkable, and so who knows? And it's very preachy the way they handled it. It didn't seem organic to his character, and that's where I kind of got the sense that even though it's a story set in kind of in the past, in a different time, you have sort of the modern day kind of preaching and themes and conflict really kind of inserted.
Yeah, it seemed a little bit forced, I think, and it didn't flow as much with the other storylines that were basically every other storyline was to do with that royal visit.
Yeah, I think there's a better way to handle the story than they did that wasn't quite as...
Which for the most part, I mean, it's pretty obvious in the series about his sexuality, and I feel like throughout this series, it was handled a little bit more organically. It seemed like it was kind of more separate and forced, I think, in the film than it was ever in the series itself.
Yeah, and really that was sort of the one negative that it just from a narrative standpoint and just from a worldview standpoint that sort of disrupted an otherwise pretty cohesive and united story. Kind of the main question that probably some of you, if you're fellow Downton Abbey fanatics,
and if you're not one, you should be,
are wondering is, as I shared earlier, I was surprisingly satisfied with this film. I enjoyed it. I laughed. Even though I didn't know anything about these characters, by the end of the 2-hour film, I felt like I knew these characters, wanted to know more. Maybe not enough to go back and watch the first 6 seasons.
We'll convert you, we will.
but I felt an attachment. I knew who they were, what they stood for. But as someone that has invested years
and a pilgrimage to England
to Downton Abbey Mecca, a lot of tea, a lot of scones, were you ultimately satisfied with how the film
I think so. I mean, I was kind of nervous going to it because I really love the series. And so I didn't want them. I feel like a lot of times when they come back and try and make a film later, it ends up just not being up to the standard.
Well, because you say that with the Gilmore Girls came back, Full House.
Fuller House. I felt like those ones they couldn't recapture what they had in the original series. I think this one, it also wasn't as long of a break, I don't think. I don't remember actually when the series came off, but it's only been a few years.
Yeah.
But I liked it as a Downton fan. Did I like it as much as the actual series? Probably not. But again, they just didn't have as much time to really develop everything, and I think they kind of tried to shove in a subplot for every single character so that everyone who watched the show would get to see closure, and I feel like they kind of tied it up with like more bows than I see under the tree at Christmas. But it was good. I mean, I wasn't disappointed, and I laughed, and I probably would watch it again.
Would you want there to be Downton Abbey the movie 2, or is this a good closure for the whole series?
I really don't know. Like, if you closed the door and deadbolted it, I don't know that we could have more closure than we had at the end of this film. So really, I don't know. I don't really know where they would go. I mean, to be honest, if they made a film, would I see it? Yeah, I'm a diehard fan.
Would you drag me?
Probably, yeah. But I don't really see it as being necessary. I feel like this kind of was the closure that every Downton fan was looking for. So, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, Hollywood has a hard time saying no to guaranteed money. So, we'll see, I guess, a year or two down the road if they try and do that.
A lot of the films out in theaters today, big blockbusters, a lot happening, action. It's almost refreshing just to kind of sit back and just watch some smaller scale drama and just kind of escape into this world. So, what about you? Did you see the film? Are you planning to see the film? Are you a fan of the series? Are you coming at it fresh? We'd love to hear your perspective as well. So jump into the comments section and let us know your thoughts. And if you haven't done so already, we'd love for you to subscribe to this channel and keep up with all of our video content. Thank you for watching, and we hope that you'll continue to collide with your world for Christ. God save the Queen.